Mr. Shoaff told me when I was 25 and first met him, he said, Mr. Rohn, in my personal opinion, financial independence is a worthy goal. Now, he really said that for a reason, because a lot of people are having problems with financial independence simply because they have some moral issues really confused in their minds about the value of money, or the danger of money, or having too much money, or that the true values of life are not wrapped up in money, so money really doesn't matter that much. And some people have some problems in this area, and I'll admit I had some. When I first started making more money in 1 month than my father made in 1 year, at first I was very disturbed by that. And guess what? For a long time I wouldn't even tell my parents. I didn't tell them. I said, what are they going to think? I make more money in 1 month than my father makes in 1 year. How can I tell them? And I was really confused about that. I was really bothered by that for quite a while. I think it was several months. No, because here's when it ended. I finally worked up the courage to tell them how I was doing. I can't remember now just how I put it. I was just trying to figure out some way to put it right, to break the news to them so it, wouldn't be, too great a shock. When I told them what I was doing and what was happening and what was going on, they were just incredibly delighted. They were terribly happy, terribly excited. And I discovered that I'd worried and been bothered all those months for nothing. Because I had this in my mind. How am I going to justify it? How am I going to, work this whole thing out? How are they going to feel? And sure enough, I had just conjured all this stuff up in my mind, and it really was not real. But some people really have some problems on financial independence because they feel that the morality of earning lots of money is a very valid question. Every once in a while, someone after my seminar says, I think you talk too much about money, success. And that's not where the good life is. The good life is not just money and success and making a lot of money and doing well financially. And I understand that. I really do. And I have pondered those subjects all these years. And I don't want it to make it seem like just going for money or financial success is where the true values are. They are not. And hopefully in my seminar I've got enough in there to try not to mislead people that I'm just thinking of financial success. But, so Mr. Shoaff said to me, in my opinion, financial independence is a worthwhile objective. He said, here's why. He said, Jim, once you get money out of the way, you can't believe the other dimensions of your life you can work on. Once you solve the money problem, he said, now you'll have the time, more time, to work on certain other projects of your life that will really start to grow and expand. So he said, for that reason, I think financial independence is a worthwhile objective. And I know part of it's a moral question. There is a Bible phrase that says, the love of money is the root of all evil. But I'm sure the phrase is probably more correct than saying the love of money. The love of money. Now, when I did start getting some of those big bonus checks way back in those early days, my first crack at money, right? I wasn't too worried about, whether or not it was going to ruin me. One of my friends, right, his wealthy friend, when he started making a lot of big money, said, Robert, I don't know if I should give you all this big money or not. Said, money's ruined a lot of people. And Robert said, just try me one time. I mean, let's just see. So we're all willing to go through it, I'm sure, that first time. But I know it is a moral question. Sometimes it's something you just have to wrestle with. But here's what I found out. Financial independence is not something you have to throw away all other values to acquire. You don't have to throw them all away. Now, you could, and that would be foolish. If there's half a dozen major values and you threw away 5 to go for 1, see, that would be foolish. But in my opinion, you really don't have to. But now in the moral question, for those who press me a little bit about talking too much about money and finance, being successful, I have another question in response, sharpening up my debating skills. And here's my question. If you could do better, should you? That's pretty good. On my side of the debate, right? If you could do better, should you? Sometimes people use the moral question as an excuse to be lazy and not to improve. Then on the other side, part of it is just the challenge to see what you can become, regardless of what the amount is. A man said to me one time, well, Mr. Rohn, I'm making about $50,000 a year. Isn't that enough? And I said, yes, it's enough if you're bumping your full potential. But if you're capable of $500,000 a year, you're somewhat of a loser. See, it's not the amount that counts. It's the extent of your reach that counts. That's what we want to do. Employ the full extent of our reach, whatever that amount turns out to be. If it's $5,000 a year, wonderful. If you're really extending yourself economically, doing the best you can, and those numbers turn out to be $5,000, wonderful. If it's $50,000, wonderful. If it's $500,000, wonderful. As long as you're extending yourself, your mental, personal capacity to its limit, whatever those amounts are, those are the amounts. Because Mr. Schultz had this simple philosophy. How far should you go? Answer, as far as you can. How much should you learn? As much as you can. How many books should you read? As many as you can. How much should you earn? As much as you can. How much should you share? As much as you can. What should you accomplish? As much as you can. That's a good philosophy. What could I do in comparison to what I am doing? What could I do to extend my reach? Am I fully employed? Good question. And I think that's the answer to some of the moral question. If you're properly using your 8 hours and you're extending yourself and you're doing your best, whatever that amount is, that's the amount. But financial independence is a worthwhile goal. If you can finally set money aside as being such a major object in trying to accomplish and paying the bills. And Mr. Schultz said to me, Mr. Rohn, I think the only way to get money out of the way is to have plenty. So I went for that. Here's what also I found out. The time you've already set aside for labor is enough time to become wealthy. If you're working 8-10 hours a day, that's about it. You can't put in more than about 8 or 10. But see, if you better utilize that 8 or 10, and you double, triple, quadrupled your income, see, that would be okay. Just better utilization of the time you're already spending laboring, just a better use of it. Now, see, if you start throwing your health away by going for the money and working 20 hours a day, and slighting all your friends, and walking away from your family, see, now you've lost all the other values to go for one, and that would be, in my opinion, shortchanging yourself. But financial independence, let me give you just a few clues on financial independence, because part of it depends on the plan you have. It isn't necessarily how hard you work, or whatever else you sacrifice to go for it. You really don't have to do that. Most of us live long enough, and especially in this country of unique prosperity, we have chances enough to fairly quickly, before too long, solve the money problems of our life. One of the major reasons why most people don't is because they're operating on the wrong plan. And here's the key. It's not so much what you earn as what you do with what you earn. It's not so much what you earn as what you do with what you earn.